In 2010, Matthew Stafford threw 7 total touchdowns to 1 pick, a very impressive mark between 3 games. However, the problem was he only played in 3 games in 2010, as he suffered 2 separate injuries that cost him to miss almost the entire season, and because of that, the Lions went 6-10. Likewise, in 2019, the Lions the first half year were 3-4-1, struggling along, but Matthew Stafford was having one of the best statistical seasons of his point in his career. 19 touchdowns to just 5 picks, looking really good. Maybe the Lions could be a contender still. However, after that first half, he once again suffered another season-ending injury that would make him miss the rest of the season, and the Lions completely fell off as they went 3-12-1 afterwards. I always wondered in these years, what if he actually played the entire season? He had the stats to play good, so maybe he could have gotten the Lions into the playoffs, and then who knows what would happen? And that's what we're going to find out, as I'm doing this theory right now because it's short and simple, as a big theory I'm working on is still in the works. So, let's get into it. What if this happens? What if that happens? What if? An NFL theory. So we're going to start off in 2010, of course, and in both seasons, Matthew Stafford will play the entire season. He won't get injured. And how did he play in 2010? Well, in the 3 games he played, he had 7 total touchdowns to 1 pick in 3 games, effectively meaning in each game he would have 2.33 touchdowns, meaning he's guaranteed to throw 2 touchdowns and a 33% chance of getting another one. So, with him under center for the rest of the year, how would the Lions do? Well, in real life they improved from 2-14 to 6-10 from 2009, but a lot of their games were also very, very close. Even without Stafford, they had most of their games of the year were pretty dang close that they lost. So, Shaun Hill, who was his backup, played solid, but he wasn't the same stat-wise as Stafford. So, with Stafford playing the entire year, how will the Lions do? Well, he would play very good, of course, averaging out 37 touchdowns in 2010. And with him playing the entire year, the Lions improved to 10-6, their first winning season since 2000. And the updated 2010 stands, nothing changed on the AFC side, but the NFC changed a lot, as the Giants now make the playoffs, win the division, get in the first round bye as the 2nd seed. The Bears fall to the 3rd seed, and the Lions now make the playoffs as the 6th seed, making the playoffs for the first time since 1999. So, in the NFC side, we focus on the first game, which would be the Lions at the Bears. In their first playoff game in 11 years, they had to visit the team that they lost to in real life on that controversial Calvin Johnson catch. This time around, they would beat the Bears in that game, but it still wasn't enough to clinch the division. Now, this would be a tough game, as both games were close. The Bears swept the Lions in real life, but in this timeline, the Lions would win the first game. It's a very tough game, but unfortunately, Stafford would not get the extra touchdown, and I think, combined with the Bears' defense, I think the Bears would do just enough to hold on and get the win. After that, they would be visiting the Giants, and the Bears played very good against the Seahawks in real life in the divisional round. And I don't know if the Giants would have enough to beat the Bears the second time around after they beat them in week 4 of the season. So I think the Bears would get in the rematch. Meanwhile, the Seahawks instead would visit the Falcons. And of course, we all know about the Falcons' complete meltdown against the Packers in the divisional round. And although they won't be facing like an elite defense like the Falcons did in real life against the Packers, the Seahawks played very good against the Bears in terms of like offensive production, as Matt Hasselbeck was playing very good. So despite that, I still think if the Falcons have their implosion again, I think the Seahawks would have enough to still win the game. And of course, the conference championship would be the Seahawks at Bears. Of course, the Bears won that in real life, so they would here as well. So the Super Bowl is now the Bears and the Steelers, since the Packers were eliminated. In a close game, the main problem, however, for the Bears is Jay Cutler is not Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers had one of the best games of his career in that Super Bowl, and that was just barely enough to beat the Steelers. And Jay Cutler is not that, so because of that, he's not going to ball out like Rodgers did, and the Steelers this time around are going to get the victory. So Stafford, playing the entire year, kept the Packers from winning their Super Bowl and helped the Steelers get it. So that's how 2010 went. How about 2019 now? So in 2019, like I said, the first half of the season, the Lions were 3-4-1, and Matthew Stafford threw 19 touchdowns to 5 picks, one of his most efficient seasons ever at that point until he suffered his season-ending injury. And the Lions went on to lose every single game afterwards. So he plays the entire year. So at his rate, he would, at the end of 2019, would have 38 touchdowns. Insane production. But would that be enough to get into the playoffs? Unfortunately, unlike 2010, where a lot of the Lions' losses were close games, after his injury, the Lions pretty much got destroyed in most of their games. And unfortunately for the Lions, it would not be enough, as they would improve, but only to 6-9-1, which is only because they're tied slightly better than their 2018 season. And the updated 2019 NFL standings, nothing changes. The Lions' only wins would be against the Redskins, Raiders, and Broncos. So in the end, they literally do not affect anything. The playoff spots are exactly the same, and with that, the Super Bowl outcome remains the same. So yeah. So that is what I think would happen if Stafford played the entire season of 2010 to 2019. 2010, it would make a major difference as the Lions would make the playoffs, but 2019, not so much. They would take one of the worst teams in the league and make them just mediocre and waste another elite season of Stafford. But anyways, it's just a theory, an NFL theory. Thanks for watching. As this theory was several theories ahead of my current big one I'm working on right now, as it's a lot more work than I would expect to do, especially since I don't really have a controller, so getting screenshots on Madden's a little bit difficult with a keyboard and such, and yeah. So I might be focusing a little bit on my newer theories too, and plus that would help my Word program be like, oh god, stop, get rid of all these sliders and logos and all that so it won't lag as much, because yeah, NFL Theory's Word file lags so much because of all the stuff on there. So hopefully get a little bit extra off will help out eventually. So yeah, you might be seeing some of my shorter theories coming up to get them out of the way and all that before I get to the big one done soon. So hope you enjoyed. So see you all in any other future video.